how to handle landlords. You know, how do you handle them when they're asking questions about how much you make? And she's out in San Francisco, how much you make, and what were the other things they're asking? Like, they're just overreaching on the questions that they're asking, getting too deep into your business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really none of your business. You find a nice way of saying it, but if they're asking that, like, I would just wonder, when are they asking those questions? When you send a template, when are they asking it after you send the template? What are they saying? And how many of them are asking is the question.
So they are asking after I send the template. I've had a couple who were property managers who are looking to rent their home down in San Diego. And then, they started asking like, so, like, how does it work? And like, how do you get paid? And,
there we go. Now I get it. So they're not really asking because they're trying to qualify you. They're asking because they want to learn. So I in those kinds of situations, I just I give really general answers that still say, kind of none of your business, but again, in a nice way. So my general answers is because I want to understand, number one, why they asking. Are they asking just because they're being nosy? Are they asking, and is it a valid question? Is it really a valid question based on what we're doing? So I've gotten it in the past where, they're looking to work with me and stuff, but then they ask, so I've had this happen before where they say, so your guests are not paying you rent? So I ask that a couple of different ways. I say, no, we don't collect rent from our guests, and because we don't have rental agreements with them, so we don't collect rent from our guests because we don't. And then they might ask the question. I've had it where they say to me, well, how do you get paid then? Are you doing it, and are you doing this for free? And what I always say in those cases is, and I've had it maybe once or twice, definitely once, but maybe twice, where I say, oh no, we work things out. Now, when I'm having that conversation, however, I'll say that, and then what I'll do is I'll serve up a question back to them. I don't like to answer questions for people in those situations where they ask a question, I answer it, and then I just hang out there and I stand right there on the interrogation block, basically saying, okay, ask me whatever else you want to ask. I'll sit here until you're done. We don't want to do that. So we'll answer that question, and we'll do it in a way that still, I just said it in a really nice way. It's none of your business. Oh no, we work some things out. I would say, oh, so it's, it's a nice place. When are you hoping to lease it? Start the lease. So something, I'll just say something that now gives them, we move that conversation along, right? I'm not on the interrogation block at this point. I just asked you a question, right? I answered your question. I just asked you a question that's relevant. Oh, so how long have the last tenants been here? Oh, great. Why'd they move? What happened? Oh, okay. How long's the place been vacant? If they're really interested, again, because I'm getting back in that mode, it's not a combative mode. I'm in that mode of, let's talk. Like I'm here to again implement the win-win principle, see what it is you're looking for, see if what you are looking for, if I can satisfy that win without compromising my win, which is, we know what that is, right? Our win is we want to get a nice place within formula, right? That meets formula, a good place that meets formula. That's pretty much my, and I want to be able to work with someone that's not going to be a headache to me either. If I know what my win is, as long as I can give them theirs and listen for that, and I'm building rapport in that process. But if I could give them that without compromising my win, then we're good. And that's where I'm back in that mode again. But I'm not gonna let people talk down to me. I'm not going to be talking down to anyone else either. My goal is to make sure we're level. They're not seeing me as just an ordinary tenant. They're not seeing me as someone that's gonna make their life miserable. They're seeing me as someone that, man, I'm gonna like working with this guy. So when I answer that question, if they ask me for the right reason, they're not gonna see the way I answered it as a negative, because they know it ain't none of their business. And if they're just trying to learn something, that's not really what I'm there for. I'm not there to teach them my business. But we could talk a little bit about, some of the other stuff. That's why, you want to stay pretty consistent with your language as it relates to, again, your template and those kinds of things. Yeah, your template and stay in line with that. So there's no need for you to get deep into your business when they're talking, when they're asking those questions. They're only asking in many cases because they if they're sincere and then you answer it kind of that way. Are these conversations happening on text or are they happening verbally?
So I had one instance where I was on a tour, and it was a
Verbal.
couple,
Okay.
yeah, who were property managers, and they kind of, asked, questions, and they were just like, "Hey, sit down," They were we had a really good, conversation.
Okay, great.
And but she, then she mentioned, oh, so it's not going to be listed on our, Airbnb, right? But I think before, I told her, I said, no, I mean, we do use Airbnb to manage our guests.
When they
And then
come in
so
from out of town.
yeah, they're coming from out of town, and she's like, oh yeah, we don't want any Airbnb,
Okay, then that's over. There's no
yeah.
more conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah. And then the other guy actually called me over the phone, and so he and I was having a conversation. But he did mention that, the property that I had inquired about, he had just rented it out, but he would have another one, coming on the market in late February, and recommended that I, follow up with him because he wanted to meet me, and wanted to see if I'd be interested in this new property that would be coming up,
Yeah.
soon. And then I had another owner who presented to me, oh, right now I have a permit in with the county. With the city, because I'm planning to, knock down the property, once I get approval. It'll probably be 6 months to a year. I'm not really sure when, but, so I want to be, transparent with you to let you know that, eventually, the property is coming down, and I'm going to build, a 6-story, multi, unit building.
Okay. Is
And
that
so I
within
said,
is that within the year, the term of your lease?
so he wasn't willing to do a year lease. He was basically saying that, the property would only be available for 6 months because he wasn't sure how long the permit, was going to take, getting approval
Yeah.
down, at the county.
So that's something you're gonna need. That obviously, I don't like anything less than a year, because that's a lot of work to put in for 6 months. I mean, and typically 6 months is, so for instance, you're coming in, you're putting in the work, you got to run numbers yourself and see, but you're putting in the work to get it all set up. You're putting in, like, if you run the numbers and you see that you're making 50 grand in 6 months, okay, well, maybe it makes sense for you, right? But if you're going to be making $15,000 over a 6-month period, it doesn't really make sense, because I'm sure there's other places you can get, and you can get that 12-month lease.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking two different things, because I know really this conversation was just about how to have these conversations with landlords that are overreaching with their information.